Hey everyone, Mr. MC here, and I'm here with not a Gran Turismo video. I'm actually here in the Crew Motorfest doing the Grand Race, where you go through 3 different stages and change to different cars along the way and do it with 27 other people, and obviously the goal is to win the race. And we're starting the race in pole position, which is probably one of the worst spots to start in, because with a sharp turn coming up soon, everyone's just gonna barrel into you, as we're about to see in a moment, where I'm just going to get pushed out of the way and just not even hit the checkpoint, just going to get annihilated by a bunch of cars. And yeah, I have to force myself to respawn. People are just still barreling into this turn, just going flat out into the sharp right turn, going down from P1 to P19, so not a great start. And it's not going to help that I'm about to get redirected by this guy right here. He's going to redirect me into the bridge. Just bring me to a complete stop and then just get a huge shunt from the guy up in front. So my back is going to feel that for a couple days. And now it's just try to make my way back up and just try to reclaim as many spots as possible. But I don't think first place will be reclaimable at this point, as I'm just duking out with all these people. And then this guy right here is going to go ahead and fly straight into a tree and just reclaim another spot right there. Up into P17 and just trying to remember how to drive and how to keep the car on the road. And unfortunately, this guy right here is not going to have a very good day, as he is about to go upside down from hitting the bridge. Up into P16 and just going to go right into the back of this guy right here. And this is actually the guy that pushed me wide out of the checkpoint, the really sharp right turn, and then kind of just started the whole process of getting me annihilated. Finally getting past him into P15, but he's right behind me, so I'm just trying to see if I can somehow get away from him and just try to catch up to the group of cars up in front. And just going through these streets at over 250 miles per hour, nothing wrong over here. And then here comes this sharp right turn where I decide it's a brilliant idea to just go in straight into the stone wall. And while it was destructible, that slowed me down quite a bit. It actually ended up costing me a spot right there. Down into P16. Luckily, I do have one person to take advantage of, their slipstream. It's going to get past him and go up into P15. Although I do have to duke it out with him a bit. Gonna see if I can try to somehow hold on to P15, catch up to the group of cars in front, but he's just gonna go really wide and end up hitting the wall. Luckily, I got away with it and gonna keep P15 for now, but still have to make my way up into the next group of cars. Although here we do switch over to the hypercars, and I didn't own a hypercar at the time. I mean, that's the category of cars that the crew calls here. So gonna be in the Porsche 918, and it's gonna just gonna go through this roundabout like no big deal up into P14, as some cars did end up spinning out. And here comes the rather kind of boring process if you're alone on this highway, because this is a really high speed section of the racetrack or race course, however you want to call it. Actually passed 2 cars right there, as I'm gonna guess they had a big moment. I'm about to have a big moment myself, because I'm gonna forget to use the brakes and just go straight into the wall and put me to a complete stop. So all that progress right there was for naught, as those other 2 cars ended up passing me. We are gonna skip forward towards later in the video, as I do end up getting a bit closer towards these next group of cars up into P12, as some cars did end up spinning out along the way. And now we're going to switch on over to Street Tier 2, which I'm in the Lamborghini Diablo, which is a pretty fast car. And this person over here, unfortunately, is going to end up going right into a tree and going to go ahead and take their spot. So after all that's happened, the last 5.5 minutes, I started in pole position, went down to P20, 21, and now I'm up into P8. So far I've been able to salvage this race pretty well. So it wasn't, not having the worst day so far. But still, I gotta somehow try to catch up to P7, maybe even P6, as they're not too far up ahead. But we're gonna skip forward towards later in the race, as I am eventually able to capture into P7. He's just gonna smack the wall. Gonna be able to get past him. And the race is ending pretty soon, as we're 90% done with the race. And P6 is right there. P5, I think he's a little too far, so need to somehow try to find a way to catch up to P6 and get past him, although he is going a little slow through these turns, and we do have nitrous that we can use. So I'm trying to play the nitrous game a bit more strategically so I can make sure I have just enough to get past him, although I am going a bit faster than him, and gonna make use of the nitrous right at the end of the race, get past him. Now I just need to hold on towards the end of the race, just go through that plaza like of nothing, and finish in P6. So after all that happened in this race, well, yeah, it could have been better, but still, I mean, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. So pretty happy to finish in P6. But now going to go on over to race number 2. We're starting in P26 in the Porsche 918. What could possibly go wrong? So starting again P26, going to already make my way up a couple spots up into P23, P22, and we're just going to barrel down these streets going over 220 miles an hour. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, you see, there's this left kink that is coming up right about now, and it's gonna catch so many people off guard. Let's go from P20 to P3. Yeah, P3. So overtook nearly everyone in, what was that, like less than 10 seconds. So now I just need to catch up to first place, who's right in front of me now, actually up into P2, and just try to run away from everyone else. So here we are, just gonna try and see if I can get past them, although these roads are a little narrow and it's actually a little dangerous as you go through these kind of narrow streets going over 200 miles an hour. Somehow survived that turn and took P1. Now it's just a matter of just trying to survive and build a gap from everyone else, although P2 is not gonna like that and he's just gonna push me off. But luckily there was a ramp right there, just a ramp, just casually hanging around there. And he did go wide, and okay, what am I doing? Just forgetting how to drive right there. So duking out for P1, so there's only 2-car battle now. I don't know what happened to the other car. And just going to try to be careful with these turns, as these pretty sharp turns can unsettle the car, as P2 is unfortunately going to find that out the hard way. And I'm almost going to end up having a similar fate myself, but luckily able to catch the car, and just having a bit of a moment right there. But luckily I was able to keep P1 and actually build a bit of a gap between myself and second place, so just able to take home the win. And yeah, there we go. So finishing P1 after all the mess that happened, especially at the beginning of the race. And there we go. So finishing P1, and yeah, the other guys similarly dressed. But we're gonna go ahead and go on over to the next race to see what sort of shenanigans is lying ahead of us. So this time starting out in rally raid cars, and I'm in the Mini Clubman because, well, why not? Already up into P9, so getting a pretty good start off the grid, actually up into P6, maybe even P4, no, P5 actually. Gonna see if we can survive this left turn, but this is where the shenanigans starts. So you can get a free ride over on top of that Ford truck, and unfortunately he's going to end up binning it. Up into P3 now, somehow surviving that ordeal. So now it's just a matter of just trying to catch up to second and first place and just somehow try to get past him. So it's going to try to be nice and careful with this left turn, really sharp left turn. Actually past second place, and now just duke it out with first place, who's actually in a Bronco. It's like a beach edition. Not too sure, to be honest. And he's gonna end up hitting the wall and take first place for now. But this is a really sharp right turn that kind of caught me off guard, and this Nissan actually is gonna be duking out with me. Gonna get a bit pushy and almost push me off. Actually, wouldn't have been too bad if I got pushed off. I could have just kept going, but we survived the telltale. That guy just sent it. Unfortunately, didn't really work out for him. But in the meantime, he's going to be duking out with this Nissan, in which I've been hearing that the Nissan is one of the better rally raid cars. I'm not sure if it's true because I personally don't own it myself. I mean, I've just been driving this Clubman and the Porsche 959. I think one of the Jeep Wrangler cars. I don't know, so yeah, I can't say whether this car is really good or not. Just go around that tree like nobody's business actually, and just survive to tell a tale. But in the meantime, just gonna see if I can try to keep up with this Nissan, because he is proving the Nissan to be a pretty good car, so I'm having a bit of a hard time just trying to keep up with him. And just gonna also just try to be careful and not hit these trees, because there are the bigger trees like this one right here that will really mess you up. Actually, somehow didn't completely mess up. Could have been a lot worse, because if you hit the tree head on, you're gonna be at a complete stop, maybe even get flipped over and just have a really bad day. So up down to P3 actually, is gonna see if we can try to catch up to second place. First place is still not too far away, so first place in the Nissan, and oh my goodness, just playing it really close, almost hit that big old tree, but kind of ended up using it as like a mini ramp, I guess. I don't know. But in the meantime, first and second place gonna have a bit of a moment right there, and well, I'm gonna have a bit of a moment as well, just understeering like crazy. And now this is where this poor soul is gonna have a really unfortunate time, because there's a bridge just after the checkpoint that he's supposed to cross, and I guess he tried to go around it, but he's about to find out the really hard way that there's a big old ditch. And he's gonna fall down and he has to respawn. So up into P I'm sorry, but the shenanigans here is so hilarious. This is really funny just seeing all these things happen. And anyway, so up into P2, and luckily first place is not too far out, so we're kind of back where we left off. And yeah, kind of just struggling to try to get the mini rotated around these turns. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through this, because a whole bunch of nothing happens until here, where we do switch over to the tier 1 cars. And yeah, I'm in a DeLorean. It's not that good of a car. I wanted to try it just to see how good it was, and yeah, it's not that good. The car in second place, he's in the Honda Civic, one of the newer models, and while his car does have a bunch of wheel spin, I mean, it drives better than this DeLorean, so it's going to be pretty difficult to try to catch up to him. And this is where, because his car is a heck of a lot better than mine, he's going to be able to easily build a gap between himself and I. I mean, you can just see that I'm just trying to drive carefully and just trying to keep the car from sliding around. He's just able to just go through these corners a heck of a lot better. And we're going to fast forward through this, so you can actually see in the lower right hand corner of the screen that he was able to build up a pretty sizable gap just by being in one of the better cars. At least in our situation, he was in a better car. I don't think the Honda Civic is the best car, but again, in our situation, since I was in a much slower car, his car was really good. He did switch over to a racing bike, and I was in this BMW, but because he built a huge gap between himself and I, he was pretty much able to take home the win without worrying about me too much. If the race was just a little bit longer, maybe I would have been a problem, but yeah, the race ended before I caught up to him. But still taking P2, so not too bad. But for now, we're going to go ahead and begin our final race in the drift car. Oh gosh, so yeah, these cars are difficult to drive, and yeah, you have to be really careful with how you treat this car, because this car will step out no matter what. I mean, they're drift cars, so they like to slide around a lot. But when you're trying to race in them, yeah, everyone's just gonna go off the track or off of the road like this, and then you have this guy this is gonna fall off the cliff, and oh gosh. So yeah, this is the sort of thing that happens, especially when you're all in drift cars, where people are having the hardest time of their life just trying to keep control of the car. Car wants to slide everywhere because that's what it does, and then you just suddenly end up falling off the face of the earth. And yeah, you can see I'm just having the hardest time ever just trying to keep control of this car, and I'm actually trying to keep this car in a higher gear so I can have less chance of getting wheel spin, since traction control just happens to be off. And it's just gonna go through this checkpoint style and end up tapping the wall, but it's not really gonna help me go faster, especially when the car is just wobbling around like this, and just having a really hard time just trying to keep this car under control. Yeah, I am gonna try to take the shortcut, kind of just cut the corner and go through that checkpoint, which doesn't really help when you're just getting slowed down so much by all the grass and the vegetation that you're just happen to be driving through. But anyways, gonna go fast forward through this as I'm just trying my best to keep the car under control. Gonna finally get past someone, go up into P20. So yeah, just doing really poorly in this race. Up into P19 as someone hit the bridge. These guys are having a bit of a battle right here. You're gonna see if we can try to get past him up into P18, maybe P17. Actually, get P15 actually. After that little bit of shenanigans happened right there. And luckily we do have P14 not too far up in front, but I think the main goal here is just try to keep the car under control. And this is where I have the really bright idea of taking this jump, as I'm actually going to end up slowing down, like just going through all the foliage and then go through that welcome sign like a nothing. And that ended up killing all my speed. And then yeah, the car that just passed me, so the one in P16, he's going to have a bit of a moment right here. And just gonna go across the run. It's gonna go into the back of him, but luckily up into P16. And luckily this is where we switch out of these cursed drift cars and gonna switch on over to the street tier 1 car. So I'm in this Mercedes, and while this car does feel pretty heavy, at least to me this car feels pretty fast. So I feel like I can make a bit of work happen. You know, as long as I don't crash or grind the wall or anything like that, or do anything stupid that slows me down. Like for example, it's going to be right around here where I'm just going to go ahead and understeer into this wall, grind just enough of the wall to slow myself down and end up losing P16. But this is where I'm going to go ahead and take a bit of a corner cut, kind of just, no big deal. And yeah, that actually did not work. But this guy's having a bit of a hard time right here, so I'm going to be able to take advantage of him and take P16. I'm going to get a little rough with him. Up into P16, so P15 just up in front. Going to see if we can try to get past him as he's kind of just drifting around in the Civic. And just going to go ahead and start duking out with him. And he's going to end up in the wall. Going to try to take P15. There we go. So up into P15. Now oh gosh, yeah, so he's really duking out now. But luckily P14 and 13 are just up in front, so it is possible to gain a couple more spots along the way. And this is where I have the bright idea again to take this jump, and all it's going to do is it's just going to slow me down, as I'm just going to end up going through all the foliage, and yeah, this is going to end up killing my momentum. I'm going to go through this hairpin, so he's going to try to be nice and careful with here. And this is where I kind of just forget how to drive, as I'm doing a pretty good job of not being on the road and then just trying to drift through these turns. Like, what am I doing here? Come on, we can go a bit faster than that. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward through this, as this Honda is gonna go ahead and have the bright idea of taking this jump that is on the left. And actually, yeah, I'm never gonna see him again after that. I think he ended up hitting foliage or a tree or something like that. But anyways, up into P15, P14 had a big moment. P13 also had a bit of a moment. Gonna see if we can try to get past him. No, so we're not gonna fight it out just yet. Luckily, there are a couple more cars along the way. Now I'm gonna try to see if we can get past P13 up into P12 actually. And top 10 is possible at this point, so I'm gonna see if it is possible to catch up to these people as well. Actually somehow just gained another spot. I don't know what happened right there. So up into P11, so we have P10 that just passed, P8 just up in front, P7 not too far ahead, so a little bit over 50% of the way through the race. So a lot of things can happen, and it is possible to grab a couple more spots. Gonna just try to be a bit careful through this left turn, although I'm just entering this turn a bit too hot, so that is gonna end up killing my momentum. But anyways, it's gonna fast forward through this once again up into P8 as someone ended up spinning out, and gonna go ahead and switch on over to the racing category cars. I'm in this BMW again because I didn't own any racing cars, so got loaned this car. But still, gonna see if we can try to get to P6, although it is gonna be a bit easier said than done, as I'm kind of just forgetting how to drive again. And this is where P7 is going to end up having a bit of a moment. Ends up hitting that train that slows him down quite a bit, to the point where I'm able to potentially take his spot. and he is kind of going to defend, although that little trip to the grass is going to have him sliding around a bit, so I'm able to take his spot up into P7 now. And gonna see if we can try to catch up to P6, although P8 or P7, however you want to put it, wants to duke it out with me. Gonna jump over these buildings, and luckily I was able to keep P7, although P6 unfortunately had a very bad time with those jumps. So gonna go ahead and take his spot for now. P5 is not too far, but it is gonna be pretty difficult to catch up to him with very little time remaining, only 5% of the race left. And unfortunately, that's how it's gonna end up being. So, I am catching up to him a bit, but it just wasn't enough to be able to take his spot. There you go. So, finishing in P6, so pretty good finish. Bunch of shenanigans, but still, this is really funny. Just seeing all this happen, just trying to survive all that. But that's gonna be it for this video. So, normally I make Gran Turismo 7 videos, but as of lately, I've kind of just been tired and burnt out of the game, so I've been spending a bit of time away from GT7, just been spending a bit of time playing other racing games like the Crew Motorfest. And again, thank you to Ubisoft for providing the game code. I didn't expect them to send me a game code, but they did, so it's really nice of them to do that. And yeah, I've just been having a ton of fun in this game, so I wanted to make a video on the shenanigans in this game mode, and hopefully make more videos on this game and other racing games in the future, but we'll see what happens. So that's gonna be for me. So thanks for watching. This is Mr. MC8, the world's most okay player, and I'll see you in the next video.